Hello, my makeup loving friends. How's it going? Welcome back. It's been another week, and we're going to talk about the makeup releases that you wanted to talk about. With me this week is the fabulous, incomparable Chloe Demure of Save the Victory Roll. Now, if you don't know Chloe, don't worry, we are rectifying that terrible, terrible tragedy right this moment. Chloe has her own YouTube channel. It's going to be linked down below, and she does lots of different videos. One of the videos that she does every week is she talks about the new makeup releases, but from the perspective of a no buy. So if you are also on a no buy, I would say check it out because I quite like looking at it because it's looking at releases and rants but from a totally different lens. So I quite enjoy it. She is also on a no buy this year. She is doing like vegan cruelty free makeup. So if that is your jam, check her out. I will say watch with caution because she has convinced me to buy products in the past and I don't regret them at all. So do please check her out. She's fabulous. We have done series together such as our Petty Betties, but because I am a shitty person and have a ridiculous schedule, we haven't been able to do them lately. But come the summer months, we should be back to doing those. So do, for the love of all that is good and pretty and sparkly in this world, check out Chloe Demure's channel. She is spectacular. But you know the drill, lads. If you didn't tag me and stuff, this would be a very, very short episode. So a massive thank you to Brianna, Gillian, Beth, Miss Charlie, Transtopia, Makeup Release Radar, Claire, Heather, Missa, Chrissy, Anna, Natalia, Yvonne, Tony Humperm, Cecily, Sink, Raya, Tia, Wilma Fingerdo, Tyra, Kelly, Paya Pidonia, Gina, Melissa, Shalina, Amy, Fiona, and Charlene. Massive thank you to each of you, and a massive thank you to my Patreons. And we have birthdays this week. Big, big happy birthday to Tess and to Charlotte. I hope you have a rather excellent day. Because the lovely Chloe is on with us this week, I am lazy. I know, such an unusual trait of mine. So I was like, I don't have to think. You're going to do the trend or the theme this week. And I think this was such a stroke of genius. Chloe decided that our theme for this week would be what we think the makeup trends are going to be for 2023. And I just think that was so clever. I kind of love that. It's the perfect thing for this time of year. So I personally have no makeup on, but I actually do think that's going to be part of the trend. I have my nails done. I think I did my nails myself.
Good.
I think the trend this year is going to be more into nails. Because over the last 2 years, we had kind of taken a step back in terms of makeup and it was more into skincare. But I think we're now going to cycle into nails. So that is my reason for this.
That's a good one. I've been seeing lots and lots more come on my feed. I've even bought like nail wraps. Right now my nails are growing well, so until they get better. But yeah, no, I've been seeing the trend with nail wraps all over. So it's a lot easier if you don't want to wreck your nails or you want to change them every day or every other day. So I agree with that. I think another thing is to go to a bold lip. I'm a firm believer in you can do a colorful eye and a bold lip. You don't have to have the neutral look. So I think, pops of color, bold lip. I think that's what I'm thinking for 2023. And yeah, I think with the way the state of the world is right now, I could definitely see people buying less and having a more conservative look, I guess, to be a little bit more mindful about what you're purchasing and what you're wearing and what you're putting out right now. So I think, yeah, maybe something like just a lip or just doing an eye or just doing your nails is something that, the little splurge that you can do to self-care and make yourself happy in 2023.
I totally agree with that because even historically, after the Great Depression in the 1920s, when people did buy makeup, it was usually a very bold lip.
Yep.
So I think you're 100% on the money there. I think there's going to be less of the contoured, less about the brows. It's going to be bold lip, maybe a bit of a bold eye. But I think if we're looking at skin, it's going to be very dialed back. Very dialed back. I actually think we're going to see a lot less foundation stuff, and it's going to be more balanced.
For sure, because I've been seeing that as well, the trend to light to almost no coverage, that
Yeah.
zero makeup look with actually zero makeup instead of the zero makeup look with 45,000 pounds stuck on your face. So I've been seeing that a
Yeah.
lot too. So yeah, yeah, I
I
agree with that.
think yeah, I think this is where it's gonna go. So my friends, some of my patrons may have done this. Who knows? We are busy, busy people, but if they have, you'll see their pictures right now. But we do have some things to discuss. And the first one, my God, are we ever starting off with, I believe, a strong one? If you haven't seen my channel before, then this is going to be a surprise to you. I am a major fan of Blend Bunny. The owner is just so lovely. I've had quite a few interactions with her. And I will say that some of her palettes are among my favorites. When I got married, for instance, I used the dollhouse the day of my wedding. That is how much I rank her products, because I knew I didn't have a lot of time to get ready and I knew I needed something that was just going to work really, really quickly. So she kind of said, I'm coming out with a 2-part collection, and she was showing the front and kind of going, ooh, it's mermaid vibes. And then she came out with this. This is the Lure palette. That is retailing for $46. By the time that you're watching this, it is available. Now, for me, upon looking at this, I think particularly the bottom 2 rows are what really kind of resonated with me. I really like dark, jewel toned colours. That being said, I understand why she had the pastels in there as well to like blend things out. Personally, I'm giving this a miss, not because I don't love Blend Bunny, but because I'm trying to be a bit more clever about the way that I'm spending my money. Because if you've watched me historically, you will know I'm an idiot. Like, that's
Oh,
the nicest way of
partner
saying it.
partner in crime, partner in crime. Yeah.
No
And
way
she's
control.
testing me with these releases. She is testing me. This is like what is this today? The I don't know, January, whatever. And they're in full force trying to get me to stop my no buy for this year. Like this release is dang. And then she set it up how I always love it and how she always does it, with the lightest on top down to the darkest, the color rows. Absolutely amazing. Exactly how I would do a
Yeah,
palette if I was doing a palette. And then her color choices are always
yeah.
chef's kiss. Like,
She just lays
yeah.
it out in such an aesthetically pleasing, but also really, for a makeup user, very logical. We've said
Mhm.
it before on this channel, those jumbled makeup palettes, while they may appeal to some, for those of us who have a very large collection, it is just nice to be able to take out a palette and kind of go, I see how everything is grouped.
Yes.
It
Yep.
makes it so much easier. There's a reason why I went for the dollhouse on my wedding day, because I was like, great, I don't have to think.
Yep.
All
Yep.
together. This is great. I totally get how this is linked with Mermaid.
Oh, for sure. Those like tealy colors, that little bit of green, the shimmers. It's stunning. Like if I wasn't on a no buy, I would have grabbed it right away. I'm putting it on my list for 2024 if it's still there for sure, because this
Oh, class.
definitely resonates with me.
But that's the thing. I don't think you have to worry about this being a limited edition. Not with this particular palette. Like, you know, all of her palettes are still available. You can get any of them now. I think what she did really, really smartly here, in my opinion, was she could have put this palette together with the multi-chrome quad that she's put together, but it would have increased the price massively. Because as part of this 2-part collection, she's also come out with the Trove palette, which is a multi-chrome quad. Now, that is very expensive. It's $68. Can you imagine if she had bundled that along with that other that would have increased the price exponentially. And she actually purposefully did that so that people could kind of pick and choose. And there's quite a few people that don't really vibe with multi-chromes, or they kind of have, like myself, a really large kind of a collection of multi-chromes, so don't need any. So I think she was really smart in doing that. And actually, she released this statement as well. You're going to see it up on your screen at the moment. And she kind of gave a justification or a rationale for why the price is the way it was. And she listed quite a few. One is, of course, the demand for multi-chromes. So that's part of the price. She was looking into into similar shades, looking at similar costings, are about $18 to $22. She said there are creator codes that can bring off the price, and she again did say that she made it separate for a reason so that it wasn't like prohibitively costing people a massive amount to get the whole thing. If you can just get the one palette, that's great. If you can get the two palettes, that's also great. If you can't get either, that's fine too. So I think it was great to see her kind of be transparent about that. And I do like and appreciate the fact that she separated out the two of them.
Mhm.
Now,
Same.
if money was no object and I woke up in the morning and somehow, don't know how this would happen or what universe this would happen in, but if I woke up and I had like €1 million in my bank, would I go and get this? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I wouldn't even question it. I'd have gone off. I'd have probably like bought this for myself and for many friends and just been like, here, enjoy the wondrous. Should I probably buy a house instead with that €1 million?
Yes, I think so.
Yes.
And
But
one palette.
yeah, maybe I'll buy the house first and then like go and buy all the palettes. That's
Oh.
look. This is why I said don't maybe listen to me in terms of financial advice. That's
Yeah,
that's not the way to go. I think it
yeah.
all makes really, really like a lot of sense here. She did say that they're doing a soft launch on Thursday. So as you're watching, they've already done a soft launch. And then she's releasing the bulk amount on the site on the 20th. So again, as you're watching, this is already available. So I think this makes an awful lot of sense. Am I going to get it? No, not right now, but I may
Yeah,
get it in the future.
yeah. And some of the colors are, I think she went and picked for her first 4 kind of like traditional ones that are already out there. So I think that if I go through my collection, I'll find some that are similar. So I'm kind of in the same mind. If money was no object and I could just put, throw money at whatever I want, I would 100% get these because I'd like to try the formula, see how it compares to other brands' multichromes. And if it's anything like her regular shadows, they're probably going to be, again, exemplar. But just looking at it really quickly, I know I have some in these kind of colorways and kind of switches that for me to put out $64, I think they are, $65, whatever that is.
68 for the multi-chromes and then
Yeah.
46 for the regular palette.
Yeah, I would, if I was spending money right now, I would go for the bigger palette instead. But again, if money was no object, I definitely want in future to try her quality. And I'm looking forward to seeing other people's reviews on these to see how they compare for sure.
I mean, she's kind of been around to the point that she's done, is it 4 or 5 palettes? There's been the blend, the surge, the primal, the dollhouse, and the all done up. So this is her 6th palette. And I will say there's no inconsistency because I have all of the palettes to date, and I have found each of them to be really like cohesive and coherent, and there's never been any sort of inconsistency. So
Mhm.
I suspect, knowing her, that's not going to change with this palette either. Like you said, though, I'm interested in seeing what the multi-chromes are going to be like.
Yeah.
Are they going to be different than any other brand? I'd love to see them compared to, the likes of Cleona Cosmetics, because they're the big one that people tend to
Mhm.
talk about. I think it's really, really well executed. Like,
Yes, I think so too. And the packaging is adorable.
oh, she's really like done this like really beautifully. And I think what I really appreciated, she kind of goes between those colorful and then those more everyday wearable palettes. And I think she does that incredibly well. And this is one of the more kind of colorful palettes, but there's an element of a wearableness in there as well. So I'm kind of here for that. I think it's a nice looking palette. And again, if €1 million happened to find its way into my account, the money was just resting in the account. I don't know how it happened. I'd very quickly head out over to Blend Bunny and pick that up. But yeah, I think it was a nice one. When I put it to you guys, 50% of you loved it, 24% said not for me, and 26% said on a low or no buy. And then when it came to the multi-chrome palette, 34% said love it, 28% said not for me, and 38% said on a no or low buy. The next thing that we have is Makeup a Murder. This is another little indie brand. They don't tend to release things that often. It's been a while since I've seen anything from them, but this is their Lovesick collection, and it's sort of like an anti-Valentine's Day collection. This is, by the way, a cruelty-free and vegan brand if you are interested in that. So they have these little eyeliner palettes, and they're in this, I mean, let's be real, super cute packaging. Yeah. I'm a child of the 90s. I'm looking at this, all I can think of is Polly Pockets.
Yes, exactly.
And I'm here for that, because I'll be honest, that was some of the best moments of my childhood. So they have the two palettes together that you can bundle them for €37.95, which in my opinion is probably the best deal, rather than getting them separately. The thing is, like, obviously you're looking at these and you can see that you could get the 6 shades, but along with those 6 shades, you can mix them. So you could technically get about 9 shades out of each of those palettes. I think it's quite an interesting one. A lot of brands obviously tend to, when they're coming out with Valentine's Day things, kind of go, oh, an eyeshadow palette, here you go. But I think this is a nicer, more interesting way of looking at it. If, however, you're just looking at one of the eyeliner palettes, for instance, the red one that's called Love Bandit, or you're looking at the purple one and say, well, that's more my cup of tea, they're €20.95 each, which I personally feel for those kind of water-activated liners, that's not bad. It's a decent price. But along with that, they also have the Script Sketch Artist Brush for €11.95. That's looking really quite luxe. It reminds me a little bit of the Melt sort of brushes that came out with the, I believe, the Muerte collection. So I'm getting that sort of a vibe. But they also then have the Script Artist Brush collection for €39.95. Now, where I feel personally that they have missed a bit of a trick here is doing the full bundle of the 2 liners and the brushes for, like, say something like 63, 64, 65 euro, something like that. That would have made a massive amount of sense.
The brushes are more what I would look at. I mean, I think because the heart shape palette, they're really cute. You know, if the formula is good, that's nice, but it's too much same colors for me for a liner palette. If I want, like I do, if I want to have, like, from Suva, I have some single red shades or whatever. I don't think I need a whole palette of red or a whole palette of purple, but I do like the packaging. I love the font on there. I think the font is so
cute.
It's just adorable. Or if you're looking for a little gift for somebody and you have a makeup lover, or, you know, a little heart-shaped palette, I think is really adorable. The brushes are what I would like. I like the really, you know, trying to find the right liner brushes that I really like to try doing more stuff with water activated liners. So those definitely call to me a little bit more, I think.
Yeah, I'm the same. I just keep seeing liner brushes and picking them up like I'm some sort of like a liner brush magpie. And I'm looking at them. They're right there in front of me. And I'm like, Teresa, do you actually need more? And I'm like,
yes.
Yeah, totally fine. Like, I have a little pot here that is just like all liner brushes. Now, I'll be honest, I have a tendency to go onto kind of more cheaper websites, and I get things like nail art brushes, because it's the same thing, guys. Save yourselves a little bit. So this is why I think they missed a trick and they should have bundled it together.
Yeah, or at least one brush with each palette, or with the right, so that way they can kind of test it, because that's the perfect combo, right? And then if you're giving this to somebody who may not have a lot of water activated liners, then they can get the brush that goes with it. That would have been a better idea for sure.
I do think this is a nice sort of a release, in the sense of it's not the same old, here's an eyeshadow palette. Not that there's anything wrong with an eyeshadow palette. I just like seeing something a little bit different, if I'm 100% honest. And this is a brand that isn't like constantly releasing things. So I kind of respect that. I totally agree with you, though, the fact that they are monochromatic palettes and you can mix them. Did you need to have 6 of those red shades? You could have
Exactly.
maybe had 3, 4, and that would have been enough.
Yeah, like with the red one, there's a white, maybe a
Mm,
black in there would have done as well. You've did one of the hearts a half black, half white, and then
mm.
a couple different pinks and reds. And that way you can do, if you wanted to do just a graphic liner look, you have everything all in one cute little compact. But
Or even if they had like kind of made it so that instead of having 2 separate palettes, have some red, have some purple, and then have like say maybe like a black and a white and be able to mix and match it along there. That would have been interesting. I know I'm like now suggesting change the whole thing. I would
what
say
we do.
if it was different. Um, but I think it's totally fine. The price is actually pretty decent, particularly for an indie brand. I will say though, I am set when it comes to my liners. My current
Yeah.
fave is the Artitude Splitted Liner Palette. You are not prying that from my cold, dead, clammy hands. That is a favourite of mine. So I'm set, but if for instance, something happened and that palette went and I couldn't, for instance, buy from Artitude, I'd think about that,
Mhm.
consider it. It's not bad. When I put it to you guys, 20% of you loved it, 42% said not for me, and 38% of you said that it needed a little bit more variety. This next one, I thought dupe alert, in my opinion, because when I was scrolling through and I got quite a few tags on this, I thought, oh, MAC has come out with something. Because
Yep.
this looks very like the MAC mineralized blushes. That's the first thing. And I was like, oh, okay, but these feel like shades I've already seen from MAC. So why am I getting tagged if they reformulated? No, it is not MAC. It is actually Essence, which I was quite surprised by. So this is their Pure Nude Baked Blush. And it is available now. You can actually buy it on Ulta at the moment. And they are $5.99 each. I mean, I gotta say, I'm not against it. I mean, $6 for a blush. I mean, like we were saying earlier, I don't think we're going to see people splashing out on face products over the next while. So I think Essence coming out with what looks to be a sort of a dupe is a smart time to come out with it. And they do look like they have quite a decent range of shades. Like they have dark enough shades and then they have some lighter shades as well. That being said, I'm reserving judgment because I couldn't find any swatches.
Yeah.
So who knows, maybe they're chalky and awful. I find personally Essence is very hit or miss. It's either that I find a product that I'm like, oh my god, this is awesome, why is nobody talking about this? Or I'm sitting there kind of going, well, that was a waste of money. But that being said, at least they're relatively affordable, so you're not kind of sitting there kind of going, oh my god, I'm after spending €60 on this thing. It's not the worst. I will usually just try and make it work for whatever it is that I'm using it for. I am intrigued by this, and
Colors.
yeah, if I see this, because sometimes in our pennies, aka Primark here, we have Essence stands, and if one of those happens to be there, I would definitely pick one up or see if I can swatch them. Sometimes they'll have testers. So I would definitely check that out. I am very, very interested. I know a few of you guys on my video on this actually said that you were ordering them. So if you have ordered them and you've received them, will you please let me know what you guys think? Because I am so nosy and we need to know for science, frankly.
Yes, we do. Yeah, I like that that you can just find them everywhere. Like here in Canada, we don't get if they do special releases of special palettes like Disney themed or something like that. We never get any of that, but definitely the core products like blushes, their amazing mascara, which is my ride or die mascara. We get those here. So that's nice that it's affordable, easy to find. Usually most drugstores, chemists will have them, and these colors look really good. So if I wasn't on a no buy, I would probably pick up 2 or 3 of them just to try and test it out because there's some really beautiful shades here.
But on the plus side, once your no buy is done, you will have information on whether or not this is worth your money. And then you can be like, oh, fantastic, I'm gonna go get this for myself. I I even like the way that they've packaged this. I feel like it looks kind of quite luxe actually
Mhm.
for the price. So in general, I think this is actually done really, really well. If I do find it out in the wild, like some sort of a Pikachu, I will capture it and swatch it all over myself because I really want to see what it's going to look like on different skin tones. I haven't seen any of that online yet.
Yeah.
Again, reserving judgment. But in all, I actually think pretty darn nice. And I gotta say, a lot of you guys were thinking along the same lines. When I put it to you guys, 66% of you loved it. It's been a while, I feel like I've seen anything from Sigma, and this is a collaboration between Sigma and Anne Canuck. I'm not sure if I've pronounced that correctly, so please bear with me. She is from the Netherlands and she's quite a big YouTuber, but I hadn't really kind of come across her before because, you know, such is life. She's very nice though. She commented on as like an Instagram post of mine. And this is her new collaboration with Sigma. And this is the Anne Canuck Pro eyeshadow palette. And it is available now for $65. And she was saying that she wanted something that is kind of friendly for people who are just starting off. And that's definitely what this reads to for me. I had quite a few people kind of saying that it reminded them a little bit of the old school Morphe Jaclyn Hill. I had people saying it reminded them a little bit of things like Lorac, of Sample Beauty. I kind of said it reminded me a little bit of Viseart. I think there's elements of all of that. Now, I thought it was going to be more expensive considering we're looking at a £20 palette because I think some of their £12 palettes are usually about $58-ish. So I was, that's where it's going to be. And considering it's a collab, oh, it'll knock on the prices. I think this is quite a smart release from Sigma and Anne Canuck because this is going to be a very good, versatile, everyday sort of a palette. It's primarily mattes. So we're looking at 15 mattes and then there's 5 shimmers, but they do look very, very pretty when you're looking at them. Like there's some really nice kind of bronzy shades in there. There's some nice shifts. And she's done some beautiful eye looks over on Instagram.
I saw that. That made me want to get, I was like, ooh, and especially I've just started playing with Sigma. So I've just bought some of their brushes. I've finally bought one of their palettes because usually they're quite neutral. So it was nice. So what I like about this one, it's not just one pop of blue. You've got some blue, you got some purple, little gray, that little, I guess, is that a red or an orange there? That tikka masala that's popping out there. Yeah, no, this is a really good palette, especially if you're wanting to try Sigma. You're going to get some color, you're going to get some neutral, a little bit of, and they make a really nice shimmer formula. It lasts all day. It doesn't get weird throughout the day. It's really nice. I've been really very much enjoying the eyeshadow palette that I picked up from them. Really, really enjoying it.
Well, I've heard that from a lot of people that they really, really rate the Sigma eyeshadow formula. And I feel like it probably doesn't get as much exposure as it could. And I think this is the sort of palette that could really help with that because it's not like a scary palette to look at. You can look at this and kind of go, oh, I have some ideas of what I could do. It's not intimidating to look at. Like you have your everyday looks and you have your little pops of color in there. And I think that is really, really smartly done. And Anne did say that's exactly what she was going for. It was for somebody who was a little bit unfamiliar and wanted to try these particular things out. And I feel there's not really a lot of that out in the makeup community.
100%.
You know, there's either like, here you must be like really skilled at makeup, go do the makeup, or one and done eyeshadow, good luck. There's not anything for anywhere in between. And I think that Anne and Sigma have really done quite well on this. Is it for me? No, simply because of the stage of where I am with makeup. But I think this is really, really, really smart for Sigma. And I think it'll introduce a lot more people to the brand. I could see people getting this as like a gift for loved ones because it translates well.
Yeah, or for somebody that's just getting into makeup or doesn't buy a lot of makeup, they buy 1 or 2 palettes, maybe tops a year, if that. This covers your bases because you've got from day to night, spring to fall almost in here. You've got, this is a very well done collab. And I'm normally not for a lot of collabs, but yeah, I think this is a very, very well done collab.
Yeah.
I yeah, I hope they do really well with this.
I mean, it's super versatile. The price is actually pretty decent, all things considered, because Sigma is a more high end brand in
Okay.
general. So, I mean, I'm kind of hoping this is the direction that Sigma start going into. That they kind of have more of these palettes that are a little bit more versatile, because I think that's what they're really missing.
No, I agree. I
Yeah.
agree.
And because, guys, I'm an idiot, I forgot to put a poll to you guys. I'm terrible, but I'll do that now. So you will see what it is that you guys thought. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Well, we had to have a downer at some point,
It's, look,
and
but can I
well,
say,
we went.
this is not as, and isn't this a terrible scathing indictment? This is not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Oh dear.
I had, like, in case, by the way, you can't tell what it is that we're talking about, basically, any time that I feel apprehension, you should just assume that Hipdot are involved some way, because they have been systematically attempting to ruin aspects of our lives. And I am a big fan of the likes of Korn and Evanescence, and they were like, "Hey, we're collaborating with Korn," and I was like, "Oh no! What is that doing?" And I had visions of awful, awful icons. I was like, "Oh Christ, what are they gonna do here now? What is gonna happen?" And then eventually, what was really odd, in my opinion, was Korn themselves showed the palette over on their Instagram before
That was
it got.
hilarious. Yeah.
What is happening? So this is making me feel like there are several timelines that happened, and this is the timeline we're living in right now. And it's very odd, and I don't know how I feel about it. But it came out with this particular palette. It's the Follow the Leader palette. If you look at all the shade names, they are in response to a lot of their songs. So in that sense, it makes an awful lot of sense. There's the palette itself. I'm looking at it, and I was a teenager in the noughties. I know, so hard to believe, but I'll be honest with you, it's all the Botox. It's fabulous. It's really helped preserve me. But I remember really, really early on, maybe I was 12, 13, and I got a dinky little eyeshadow palette from like one of those like budget stores, and it was in the shape of like a CD, and it had a CD case, and you'd open it and all the things were in there. Now, it had like goopy Vaseline formulas, and I thought I was the fucking tits. But this is reminding me of that they've actually made it to be a CD, and they've done it that way. And it kind of makes sense, but also I kind of hate that. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Funny story, like, because this is something that what here Avon would sell. So in North America, it was like a door-to-door type makeup thing. And that's actually how I met my best friend when we were in school. I looked over and she had a little makeup palette was shaped like a record. So that makes me even older than the CD generation. And I was like, ooh, what's that? Because I was obsessed with music. And that's how we bonded, was over a little makeup thing shaped like a record that had like I think it was lip gloss that was inside, but it was, yeah. So yeah, maybe some people can bond over the corn CD eyeshadow.
yeah. Oh, I mean, what I found really strange was the colors that they decided to put in, and they are safe, is the only way to kind of
Mm.
talk about that. And Corn are not safe. That's not,
Yeah.
that's never been their aesthetic. They've been edgy. They've been really almost like anarchist. So
Yeah.
going to this neutral thing doesn't make sense.
Were
Although,
they trying to think of grunge maybe? Were they thinking
yeah,
a grungy, kind of darker, more metal? Because they have a bit of a kind of a metalish feel to them as well,
mm,
right? If I remember right. Used to
yeah,
sell lots I used to sell lots of Korn albums when I worked in music. But yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. Maybe they were thinking those are rock and roll colors or grunge colors or something that they would think people who listen to Korn would wear.
it's really odd. But I'm kind of wondering, because the palette is called Follow the Leader, is it done ironically? Of almost like, oh yeah, this is exactly what you would expect, like a neutral palette. But I think I might have read into that too much. But I'm wondering how much Corn were involved in it. But then the
Yeah.
fact that they actually showed it on their own page is making my brain kind
Surreal.
of go.
That's surreal, absolutely surreal.
It was so strange, so strange. And it released on HipDot just the other night, and it sold out like that. Just it's gone, lads. You can't get it. It was $22, but you could also get like these little pins, which again brings me back to my teenage years where we'd all buy pins and badges and stick them onto our bags to be like,
Yeah, or all over your jackets. We used to
"Hey."
have them all down our jackets, like just covered in pins, just covered in them.
I mean,
Still
it
have them.
does make me think back to my poor mother and how it must have really been annoying for her to try and wash any of my things. Because like what would she do? Like she must have like unbuttoned each of them and tried to put them back in because otherwise I mean the stress of that. The pins were $18. So if you wanted to get the two together, it would have been $40 because HipDot are shit at doing any sort of bundled deals. It was it was really odd, in my opinion, is all I can say on that. But I had visions of something so much worse because when we initially saw this, and I put it to you guys, 28% of you said, "Oh, I'm excited for this." 36% said, "No, you will ruin this." And 36% said, "Clown, you ain't shit." Which, by the way, if you don't know Korn, that's one of my favorite songs from them. And the chorus goes, "Clown, you ain't shit." So that was my rationale. But we don't know about the other collaboration that they're doing yet, which is with Evanescence. And I love Korn, but I feel very strongly towards Evanescence. I think Amy Lee is like such a talented, incredible vocalist. Like she's classically trained on the piano and her voice is like operatic, which is often what you find in that genre of music.
Mhm.
And I am terrified because they kind of went and showed the album cover of their very first album back when we
Yep.
used to buy CDs. And
Yep.
I remember that coming out and the autistic urge, by the way, to play one song over and over
Over and over and over.
on a loop. That's
Yeah.
what I did. So people had to listen to me playing specific songs maybe 70 times in a row before I'd be like, maybe I should change this now.
And
I'm
then play one song once and then you go back to the other one.
oh yeah. And I
That
do
was
that. I cycle through it. I'm like, I must
me.
listen to this several times because it scratches my brain in the correct way. But we don't know what that looks like. If I know now, I'll show you the pictures. And when I tell you I am anxious about this one. Should I be anxious? It's fucking makeup. It all washes off. But I feel like Hipknot are just they piss me off, honestly, at this point,
Yeah.
because they produce so much shit and so much of it is just landfill. And I get really annoyed when I think about things like sustainability. And all
Yeah.
I can think of with them is just cash grab.
Oh yeah. Her face on one of those little eyeshadow icon-y things or something terrible like that.
No.
Because the Evanescence, I would say, would have had even a bigger reach than Korn did at the time.
Yeah, oh for sure.
Yeah.
They got way more mainstream than
Yeah.
Korn actually did. Korn was a little bit more gate kept, but it didn't get quite the same reach. I think most people
Yeah.
know who Evanescence are and they know at least some of their songs. Not everyone tends to know who Korn is, and that's fair, you know, to
Yeah.
each their own. But oh God.
Well, you know it's hip hop, so you know what the Korn looks like. I think the Evanescence is going to be in the same vein, is what I'm gonna guess.
I suspect it'll be like icy blues, silvers, blacks. Which
Yep,
will
yep.
be okay if it's like linking in with that album cover. But that being said, I don't think I've ever seen Amy Lee have anything that's like icy blue in terms of her makeup.
Black liner and go.
Yeah, that's usually what
Yeah,
she does.
yeah,
She is
yeah.
gorgeous. She's like
Oh, yeah, she doesn't need anything. She needs zero makeup. Yeah.
bitch.
Right.
So as I said, we don't know what this looks like right now, but when I put it to you guys, 25% said excited, 42% said stop ruining the things I love, and 32% said this is going under badly. Then we have Elf Cosmetics, and this is their Good Vibes Only collection. Look, I gotta say, I quite like affordable makeup. It gives me a little bit of joy, and I'm so glad that Chloe is on with me this week because I kind of associate, strange, I don't know why, this is the way my brain works, but I kind of associate the Elf quads with you because you had like a somewhat, I'm not going to say negative experience because it's not like, oh my God, it didn't like burst into flames or whatever, but it just, she got the cookies, what was it, the cookies, the mint or the mint and mint chocolate
The
chip.
mint one, yeah, that one was terrible. I had such high hopes because the original quads were so good, like the jalapeno one.
Jalapeno. Mwah.
Love that. I kept I kept that, and a couple of the neutral ones I picked up because those were the only ones I could find, and the quality was fine. So I was really excited to get that mint stuff, and I could not make it work for love or money. Just no,
And
everything.
you're very
Brushes
brave.
were,
Like you're
yeah.
always like really, I think, avant-garde with your makeup. You're not afraid to push boundaries. You're like, fuck this, I'm doing this, I don't care, right? You know, you never play it safe when it comes to makeup. So if you can't make it work, I feel like there isn't a lot of hope for a lot of other people, in my opinion. So when I saw this, I immediately thought of you and I was like, oh, if they could get the quality of the previous quads when they first came out, I feel like this could be a decent collection. It's small enough for Elf, because let's be real, anytime they've ever come out with things before, it's usually like, here's everything, edit it yourself. They have two of these little quad palettes. I do appreciate that they have ensured that they've kept the price of that down. A couple of months ago, they did say that the price of some of their things would have to increase due to, you know, global economics, but they would try to keep certain things at a stable price, and the quads were among them. So I really appreciate that. I feel like they were actually thinking about their everyday consumer. So the quads are available for $4, and I think actually they look kind of cute. Obviously I'm looking at the green and the blue one. Don't know what I do with it, but I like it. It's just fucking green. Green always gets me. It just,
You would need the two together to go, unless again you're doing a one and done. You would need the two together, I think, to make
oh yeah.
full look. But for again, for $4 each, it's just, is it the first launch quality or that horrible mint chocolate quality? I didn't even like the brushes from that mint set. Like there was nothing redeeming in that set, in that particular release.
But that's the thing with Elf, right? They either have like staples of their collection that you're like, I will go, I will repurchase this. I think they're a really, really good, affordable drugstore brand. Like, I genuinely do. If you find something that works for you, with Elf, you have a tendency to go and repurchase. You know, things like their hydrating camo concealer, spectacular, excellent for the money that you're paying for it. And I think if those palettes are the same quality as the first time, fantastic. I think we're on to a bit of a winner there. The brushes don't make me excited, but you know, they're not really the shapes that I would necessarily be that drawn to. They have then this like lip balm, which grand. Again, like I said, I think we're gonna go more for like very dialed back sort of things. And then they have this primer, which they said is like mattifying and it's meant to blur your pores. I mean,
I once deviated from my putty primers with Elf and tried one of their other kind of stick ones, and it was one of the worst products of last year. I was absolutely awful, did nothing, felt terrible. It was just,
this is what I'm saying. They're either really, really good or they're like straight into the bin. Like there's very rarely an in between with Elf, which I find very interesting. Other than those particular releases, they also have this little cleansing face pad, which is kind of cute. And like I said, nails are in. The fact that Elf is actually doing nail decals, I think that's speaking volumes. They're really cute, to be fair. I think like there's some cute, I wouldn't use all of them. There's like aspects of them that I would use more than others, but they're not bad.
Yeah, I guess if people still rave or go to music festivals, this is a fun little thing, right? So you could, you know, do your nails all all fancy with that, and the colors. It looks very festival, kind of festival. It gives me anyways festival
Yeah,
vibes.
I think they're going for like that 60s sort of
Mhm.
aesthetic, like the good vibes only, which I don't like the phrase good vibes. Don't know
Yeah, yeah.
why. It just
Mhm.
bugs me. I think in all, like it's one of those collections that again I'm reserving judgment on, because if it's the good formula of Elf, then amazing, pick it all up. But if it's the dodge, refrain.
Yeah.
Don't bother. The wife's birth. Wait
Yeah.
until other people have tested it. Have other people do the
Somebody else be the guinea pig, not
honestly.
always me.
Save your coin. Don't you go making those decisions. Have somebody else do those particular things. That's the job of an influencer. When I put it to you guys, the first palette, which had the little green, 30% of you loved it. When I showed you the more neutrally one, 19% of you loved it. When I showed you the primer and the balm, then 18% of you loved it. Hello, Colourpop. And hello, Wilma. It's your favorite brand, Colourpop. Back again.
Oh,
I had a few people tag me and they were like, did we not discuss this in the best and the worst of 2023? And I'm like, honest to God, all of them blend together. And we have gotten to a point, particularly with these fast beauty brands, where they are over reducing to the point that they make themselves obsolete. In my opinion, Colourpop is one of those. I feel like they've done this before. And what's really funny is if you go onto Colourpop's website at the moment, they have like their, because it's coming up to Valentine's Day, which, bleh, I don't like Valentine's Day. I think it's the most ridiculous thing. But they have like this like love section. Bleh. And they're
ugh.
showing all of their like pinky toned palettes. And I'm like, lads, you're shooting yourself in the foot because you are showing even your older palettes, like your Ooh La La palette, which has been around for what, 5, 6 years? You're
Yeah.
showing that and really showing people, oh, you don't need to get this. You can
You already have it in triplicate. Yep.
which is, I mean, honestly, what they tend to do. They have this 12 pan palette, which you could have edited it down to be a 9 pan palette
100%. Yep.
easily. But I suppose they had to make it a 12 pan palette so that people wouldn't go, this is it, you put the 9 pan palette that we have already. Let's
We'll fool them. We'll
go.
fool them. Yeah.
I'm on to you, Colourpop. I'm on to you. They have these like little face stampy things, which fine. That could be kind of cute if you're into that sort of thing. Personally, I'm not. If I want to stamp something onto my face, I'll just try and draw it freehand and then be like, look at what I did, Mammy. I'm such a great artist. And I want somebody to give me like reinforcement and praise. What I think is slightly more interesting, and this is me like pulling at straws here, is the
Yeah.
blushes and the highlighters. Like if I had to choose something, it's only because they have like kind of cute components. But I
Yeah.
am wondering who is this going to fit? And they have, again, I've no swatches as we're filming right now. If I have found swatches, well, that's going to depend as to where I find them from, because I don't trust Colourpop's website. It's so hard to find decent swatches of their stuff. But at a push, I would say that their blushes and the highlighters are relatively okay, but I will say they're quite light.
Yeah, yeah.
Which
There's
is
a couple shades that are middling, I guess. But yeah, I don't like Colourpop. Everything I've bought is either defective or didn't work the way I liked it, or yeah, I'm kind of over it. I mean, the stuff there's so many releases they put out, and I'm like, ooh, that's really pretty. But again, it's either been there, done that, or my head goes, it's Colourpop. You're not gonna like it. Why even? So I just kind of scroll past.
I can't remember the last time I bought anything from Colourpop.
Yeah.
I know there are some people who are really into Colourpop, and if
Yeah.
that's you, fantastic. I am delighted that you found
100%.
something that you love. I'm not shitting on the things that you love. They're just not for me, and that's okay. That means there's more for you. Hooray! Because
There
if
you
you know
go.
me, I do tend to like hoard, and I just be like, "This is mine now," and I'll sit atop it like some sort of a little goblin, being like, "Mine, mine, mine." It's okay. It's
Yeah.
very cliched. It's exactly what you'd expect. Again, they do the classic Colourpop of coming out with a million things where they could have just done one.
Yep.
Literally, they have the palette, they have the blush, they have the highlighter, they have these like lippy balm things, they have their lip duo thing of the balm and the scrub from Fourth Ray. Like, dial it back.
Or just make one thing and go, this works perfectly with this in our collection or that collection, then that way it's not, again, adding so much garbage, because some of it, again, is just repeating. And it's not like they've not done that heart-shaped component
They
either a
they
million
have.
times. Right? Yeah. So
Yes.
just say, here's our new palette. It'll work well with, check our love section and see all the all the things that'll go amazingly with it, as opposed to creating way more garbage.
Yeah. And I find that very funny considering they're starting to do a really dialed back version of like, you can get a free refill if you make a minimum purchase. So that, it's meant to stop you throwing out pallets, which is I think their attempt at being like, look, we are sustainable, but because I am that person, I'm just sitting there kind of going, I bet you've managed to get some sort of a grant to do this so that you can write this on your tax returns and be like,
Mhm.
see, we're meeting our green measures. Let us keep making our stuff. Like, okay. Like, I just wish they would release less.
Oh, no, same. You don't need a release every single week. You just do not.
In
I
fact,
just wish brands would do them seasonally. Spring, summer, fall, winter, and then maybe you might want to do a special Christmas or a special Halloween little release
yeah,
or something. I would be all about that life. But every single month, every single week, certain brands just keep pumping it out. It's like, can we just go to seasonal, and then show us what's coming, and then people can pick and choose what they want and just purchase what they need, versus continuously buying, and then the next thing comes out and you're just piling it up, and are you using it? You know?
I feel like this continuous production, and here's another thing, here's another thing, here's another thing, is part of what makes people get burnt out on makeup
Mhm.
and makeup
Yeah.
releases. And this is why I think we're going to see less makeup in terms
Yeah.
of makeup trends, and it's going to go somewhere completely different because people are like, I'm fucking sick of seeing a new color pop or a new revolution or a new this
Yeah.
or a new that every single week.
Yep.
But a lot of other brands are going to end up suffering because of the Egypts that are overproducing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stop at Colourpop. I don't care for your nonsense right now.
Yeah.
Dial it
We're
right
over it.
back. Dial it right back, please. When I put it to you guys and I showed you the Flirty Talk palette, 25% of you loved it. When I showed you the blushes and the highlighters, that was a bit more positive, 57% of you loved it. When I showed
Yeah.
you the glowing lips, 33% of you loved it. And when I showed you the lip balm scrub duo, 23% of you loved it. And finally,
Mm.
those obligatory face stamps, 23% of you loved it. And this is Bunky Beauty, which, by the way, I've never heard of before, but it's apparently a Californian based beauty brand. They have their own Etsy shop. All of the information, as per usual, will be down below in the description box. This is their Rainbow Pastel Extreme Multichrome palette, and it is available now if you are interested. You get your 4 shades, and it's $62. Like, it looks okay. Again, same as what I said with Blend Bunny kind of applies here. I have a lot of multi-chromes.
Yeah.
I feel like the market is somewhat saturated. Unless you're like one of the bigger brands that can come in and really cut costs and make these super, super affordable, people are not going to be responding, which I think is really tough on a more indie brand because they can't cut the costs in the same way as a bigger brand
Yeah.
can. I have found my favorites when it comes to multi-chrome. If you don't know Gourmand Girls,
Yeah.
just go. I'm not an affiliate or anything like that. I just genuinely like the brand. I feel bad for kind of newer indie brands who are starting off now. It's so difficult because
Mhm.
the market is so, so saturated, and it does almost feel like everything has been done. And I think when I look at this palette, like there's nothing wrong with it. It's not bad. It looks fine. I think fine is the word. Um, but I think the issue is in their pictures, etc., that I found on Etsy. Some of the shades when they're swatched look very, very similar. And I think it's going to be very hard for a lot of people to justify spending $62, particularly right now, when two of the shades look somewhat similar based upon the way that they're photographing. That isn't to say that that's definitely how they are, Multichromes are really, really difficult to photograph.
It's hard to really show. I think this is the same as with Blend Bunny. This is gonna be a companion because they have another palette that they released, 'cause I just discovered them as well. So I think this is, again, like a sister to go with the palette that they've released, because the other palette that they just put out is very or is gonna be coming out in March, is very pastel leaning. So I think these would go great with that. So I don't know if are these out now?
The multichrome
Oh,
quad is
available
out.
now. Yeah. So their new palette, I believe, is March. So they released some photos. So I think these would go great with that. But you're right. The cost is prohibitive for something that looks pretty similar. And I think the majority of us would have at least one or two of these or something similar in our collection. But this would definitely go good with the other palette that they're going to be releasing in March.
I do like it though when brands do those small little launches and have it so that things kind of cohere. Like It's Bell have done that with their Fruity Realm.
Yep.
They had their existing pigments and now they're coming out with the matte palette to come with it. And
Yep.
we see it when a brand does that. I think that's actually quite smart. But it's also really tough. It's
Hmm.
really tough. And I applaud indie brands for trying to make it work because it is such a difficult business. Like
Yeah, I
I'm not
wouldn't
in
wanna
it.
start a brand, yeah. Yeah, no, I wouldn't start a brand right now. Like, we're already seeing brands go down, so I feel really bad, that, if they're like us and love makeup, you put your heart and soul into this, and you're competing with the likes of ColourPop and, brands that can get it to you faster or cheaper, right? But,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that there's anything wrong with this at all. I don't want to be negative about it, particularly when they seem to be quite new to the space.
Mhm.
I like to have a little bit of positivity. Is it for me? No, simply because I have a lot as it is.
Yep.
I would be super intrigued. If anyone has tried anything from the brand, can you let me know? I'd love to know what their quality is like. I
Same.
often find that indie brands tend to have really good customer service. That's part of why I really enjoy buying from them. But I feel bad for any brand that's starting up now. It's really, really difficult. It's a tough time. I think if this had released maybe 3 years ago, this would have gotten a lot more traction than it will at the moment.
Agreed, agreed.
Because we just looked at it or it just kind of was announced, I don't have any stats on it, but I will show them to you now to see what you guys thought of this particular palette. But the very last thing that we're looking at, I swear to God, Nomad Cosmetics, bastards.
Coming for me. Like I said, this week is tough, man. This one
Yeah.
too. Like, why are you challenging my no buy right now? Why?
Because these are properly like you like vibrant colors, and I feel like they are specifically targeting you. It's like if they came out with a green palette, they'd be targeting me. I feel like they're targeting you particularly here, Chloe. Like it's nuts. So they've shown 8 of the colors now as we are filming. They may have shown more, but these are looking really, really pretty. I'm loving like even the little imprints on them. They're looking really cute. I feel like this is going to be Verona.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. I'm really bad at guessing what they do. I'm never even close. But yeah, that is an amazing guess.
Well, I could be completely wrong. Who knows? It'll be like, no,
But
Teresa, you're an idiot. The only reason I'm saying that is I'm seeing like the poison vial and then there's
mhm,
Shakespeare
yep,
and
yep,
the clue is like love and death. And I'm like, well, Romeo and Juliet, and that took place in Verona.
yeah,
It must, like in my mind, it must be Verona. And I think
yeah,
this is a really interesting color story
yeah.
for Verona. I can't wait to see the rest of it. I really, really enjoy
Mhm,
Nomad. I don't have all of their palettes, but I have quite a
mhm.
few of them. And there's a reason why I have quite a few of them. I just think they're decent, like really good quality, you know?
Yeah,
And I love the themes that they come up with. It's a little bit different. It's meeting their love of makeup and travel. And I think it's kind of nice that it's a couple that's behind that they've kind of merged their shared interests there.
yeah,
I
and they donate money to
Yeah,
wherever country or locale. They put some money back. And they're super nice. I always get a handwritten note every single time
yeah.
thanking me again for my purchase. And no, I really like. I haven't been able to get the last couple palettes. They always seem to fall within a no buy period. but this is definitely one I may stick on my birthday list and put out some subtle hints.
To be
I
fair,
think
your
this
birthday is
one's
coming
really
up in the next while, so like I personally am saying to you, treat yourself.
good.
It's a direct order.
Mm.
I I'm excited to see what the rest of this actually looks like. Their quality is always really, really good. I really like their shimmers. Like I think they're
Mhm.
really quite
Yes.
nice. And for an indie brand, they are not the most expensive. I actually think you get like really good quality for a decent price there. And they invest quite a bit, I think, in their packaging. Like you get something a little bit fun to
It's
look at.
always special. It's always special. You get beautiful packaging. They make interacting with the release fun. So whatever the release is, it's not just here's a black and white photo or or randomly a swatch. It's always like trying to get people engaged,
Yeah,
figure out what it is, what's the color story. So you get all excited for the thing. And at the end, if the color story is not your color story, fair enough. But you kind of had that engagement in between. And
yeah,
then when you do buy it, you get, like I said, I always get that nice handwritten note. It's always beautifully packaged. It's, it's beautiful to look at, the imprints. It's always amazingly well thought out. They really, really think through their releases a
yeah.
lot.
Yeah. So I can't wait to see what the rest of this looks like. I may be tempted to get this at some point. Who knows? Again, I am trying to be a
Live
little bit better.
vicariously.
Yeah, but I do think it's really, really pretty. Now, like I said, this has just kind of been shown, so I don't have any stats on it, but I feel like it'll do relatively okay. But my friends, that is it. We've managed to get through another whole week, but we have my favourite comment, and this is from the fabulous Anna BG, who says, those STIs are drug resistant now. It's a week-long course of oral antibiotics, which does make me kind of say, well, then it's even more important to ensure that you wrap it up. Very, very
Nobody
important. I
else.
mean, we learn so much on this channel. Um, I feel like I should be part of like public health messages really at this point. But my friends, that is it. That is the whole thing this week. Do please like, comment, and subscribe to myself and to the fabulous Chloe. Like I said, if you are really interested in navigating through new releases on a no buy, she is the channel to check out. She's just fabulous. And if you just really want to watch like a bit of positivity, a really nice soothing voice, I love having
Yeah,
Chloe on in the background when I'm doing something because I feel like somebody is keeping me company. I'm like, this night, this night. I'm terrible. I don't always comment, but I am watching in the background. So do please check her out. She's fabulous. Subscribe to her. Subscribe to me if you feel like it.
oh, 100%,
Yeah.
150.
Yeah, and do click that little notification bell because releases and rants happens here every single week. It's such an arduous journey for us all,
It's
but most
not a Saturday without releases and rants.
yeah, it's me like furiously editing this on a Friday. But my friends, that is it. Do please share because sharing is caring, except of course for STDs, in which case, just wrap them up, don't be gross. But that is it. That is the end of the video, and we will see you guys in the next one. Bye!